The most important quality a speaker should have, more than oratory power, more than having a convincing style, more than being prepared, more than liking your talk, all of these are mentioned in the book. So I won't repeat anything from my book. But one thing that you should always remember, whether you run a business, whether you're a speaker, anything, don't forget to be humble.
Everyone.
Someone are doing it, okay?
Yes, up to the back, okay? Okay,
All right,
let's
then
go.
4. More than Billy Cat. 3. More than Billy Cat. 2. Moja. And then public speaking with Ejaz Bhalloo. Yes!
Speaking with Ejaz Bhalloo.
So it was amazing that my dad tells Mr. Shigongo, write a book.
That was good.
All right, my very last question to you, Ejaz. What do you think, if at all we have, what do you think would be the very important qualities which a public speaker should have?
Thank you. The most important quality a speaker should have, more than oratory power, more than having a convincing style, more than being prepared, more than liking your talk, all of these are mentioned in the book. So I won't repeat anything from my book. But one thing that you should always remember, whether you run a business, whether you're a speaker, anything, don't forget to be humble. Be humble. Because I said in my prior talk, we are born to fly. Do all of you agree? Yes. So, always remain humble. My uncle always teaches me that he had an ego. But what did he do? Now, one of the most humble persons I've ever seen. So I'll give you an example. I end with this example. And this example really touched my heart. So my uncle said what? Financial status, yes, you can. We all have a right to have a good background. We have a right to become financially independent. But at the end of the day, what is true independence? What is true freedom? Humbleness. So on one occasion, I saw a leader, very prominent leader. So someone rich came, he was in his car. Assalamu alaikum. This rich person came. Oh, alaikum salam. How are you? Oh, amazing. Rich person. Suddenly a middle income person comes. Assalamu alaikum. This guy, alaikum salam. This leader says, wa alaikum salam. That thing really touched me. And I said, if I ever, and I'm in no position because we still strive to become better, but wherever you reach in life, do not discriminate against other human beings. Because we are all equal, we all belong to God. So remain humble, that's all.
So Ejaz, finally, on the same note of humility, yeah? How do we make this world a better place?
Okay. How do we make this world a better place? Number 1, attend my events.
That's important anyway, you know. That's important anyway. We need to learn this next thing.
Yeah. Okay, so you need to attend my events. No. On a side note, the most important thing in order to make this a better world is give. Give. So I always say, this is not my book launch. This is not my book launch. I have already launched my book. This is the second installment of my book launch. My book launch was launched, you know where? You people are not the first ones to get these books. Of course, I've given some to certain people. So I gave it to the Prime Minister, alhamdulillah. I gave it to some renowned scholars. Yes. But you know where this book was actually launched? At Hiyari Orphanage. That was the day where I took my books and I gave it to the children there. I had a session. I was supposed to speak for 5 minutes. I went with the IB students. 5 minutes I was supposed to speak and I'm done. The IB students said, no, continue. I said, why? You people don't have activity? They said, no. They never listen to anybody. We're surprised they're actually listening to you. So I had a 1-hour session where I taught them public speaking. At the end, they even spoke in front of me. In fact, they were better than me. That is now the most important way in which we can make this world a better place. You give. So my book launch, this is just my second installment of my book launch. The first installment has already happened at the Hiari Orphanage.
Wow, that is very, very thoughtful and invigorating and very powerful. Let's give him another round of applause, please. So, back to what we were about to do just before we started drilling and drilling.
All the
Please,
speakers.
get on stage. I wanted to forget that. All the speakers, if you,
Sir.
dads and granddads, you know, all the speakers, please. And
Yeah, of course, yeah.
granddads.
So
The long-awaited time is finally here. We're about to watch a historical event tonight. So we're gonna count in style, right? Let me teach you how we're gonna do this. All right, so we will count 5 up to 5, then we'll be coming down. So we'll start. We'll make 5 claps for 5, right? And then 4, and then 3, and then 2, and then 1, right? And then we shall say public speaking. Is that right? With the Ejaz Bhalloo. And then he will cut whatever he has to cut here. That will be. Do you have a Caesar? Do you have scissors or something? Oh, it's there. Okay.
Mr.
All right.
Mangaba,
Yes.
do we need a trial?
5 moja mbili tatu nne tano. 4 moja mbili tatu nne. Is that right?
Yes.
Then tatu mbili. Okay, so let's try. So 5.
Everyone.
Someone are doing it.
Yes,
Okay.
up to the back. Okay? Okay,
All right.
just
Then
go.
4 moja mbili tatu nne. 3 moja mbili tatu. 2 moja. And then public speaking with Ejaz Bhalloo. Yes.
With the Ejaz Bhalloo.
No, that was it.
Yes. And actually,
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, the book is launched, and another very big round of applause to Mr. Ejaz, to a very good job which he has done. So before closing this session, maybe let me hand over the microphone to Mr. Ejaz, whether he has something to say. Mr. Ejaz, if you have anything. Okay.
Ejaz's dad. Yeah, Ejaz's dad has a very special message. He would like to thank each and every one of us here who showed up tonight. He says this has been a historical moment, a very important event, and we are all transformed forever. I mean, everyone is transformed, isn't it? And I believe every one of us would leave here with the thoughts in our hearts about writing our own books, which actually was the original intent of Ejaz Bhalloo. So one more time, a round of applause to him. Yeah?
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my parents. This is not a vote of thanks speech, by the way. That will be done later on. I'd like to thank the volunteers who have worked immensely hard. This event has been running for 7 months, by the way. 7 months, since last year. The speakers, the sponsors, my parents, most importantly, my grandparents, my relatives. A big thank you to you all, and mostly, I'd like to thank you all for partaking in this event. So a big round of applause for yourselves for being part of this event. How do you achieve competence in public speaking? How do you achieve mastery in the power of oration? How do you become an effective speaker? So Brian Tracy, how many of you have heard of Brian Tracy? A majority of you. Brian Tracy, according to him, people fear public speaking more than death. People prefer dying, being buried, rather than standing on stage speaking. So how do you attain competence in public speaking? So I'll give you a few ways. Number one, eradicate and annihilate fear of rejection. You must stop thinking, what will people think about me if I say the truth? What will people think about me when I speak up for justice? Your role as a speaker isn't to be liked. If you are liked, that's a good thing. But your role as a speaker isn't to be liked. Your role as a speaker is to add value in the lives of people. That's your role. Whether you like me or you hate me, if you like me, it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. But if you hate me, it's none of my business. My business is what? Add value in your life. So do not fear rejection and you become a better speaker. Do not fear people will hate me, etc. So many people think, many youngsters think, that I will only become a speaker once I get a PhD in university. I'll only speak about mental health when I attain a doctorate in psychology. I'll only speak about technology when I attain a master's. We had a speaker, Mr. Dembo. Where's Mr. Dembo? Is he still present? Mr. Dembo. He says he learned majority of the things on Google and YouTube. So you don't have to have a degree in order to become a speaker. Yes, it's good. I'm not undermining degrees. Students, don't take me wrongly. Pursue your degree. I'm pursuing a degree as well. So let me ask you, the people who are shaking the world right now, speakers who are shaking the world, like who? Greta Thunberg. You heard of Greta? A climate activist. She's speaking up for climate change. She's saying we must stop ruining our environment. Which degree does Greta Thunberg have? Yet the world listens to her. Malala Yousafzai. How many of you have heard of Malala Yousafzai? She is the youngest recipient of the Nobel Prize. And you know what? She doesn't have a degree in education, yet she speaks for education rights. So you are never too young to start, and you are never too old to start. Sawa? Repeat after me. You are never too old, you are never too young. You are never too young to start, and you are never too old to start. So question is, what if I have haters? What if I have people who don't like me? What if I'm speaking the truth, but there are people who do not like me? What do I do? So I hark back to Mr. Panju's advice. He always tells me that you know one thing, even if someone does bad to you, you have to be positive. You have to treat them with kindness. This is the teaching of the Quran. Surah 41 verse 34, it says, good and evil can never be equal. So repel evil, how? Repel hatred, how? With kindness and love. Doesn't that deserve a round of applause? The verse of the Quran is a beautiful verse. So that's one, eradicate fear of rejection. Number two, look at public speaking in a positive light. Many of us think, oh, public speaking is scary, public speaking is this. Let me give you an example. How many of you use Netflix? Or you watch shows sometimes? TV series. So let's say you watch TV series, and the TV series comes to an end. You, as a student, you love watching that series, it comes to an end. How would you feel? Vipi, hello, mechoka. We are going to have a break soon, Bana. So, come on. Will you feel happy or sad? Sad. And your parents, they see you constantly watching that series. You're not studying. You're not going to the mosque. You're not going to the church. You're not going to the temple. You're doing nothing substantial in your life. How would they feel when the show comes to an end? Happy. So is it the event or is it the perspective of the event? If you think public speaking is scary, it's not public speaking. It's your perception of public speaking that's scary. You say public speaking is the best, I'll look at it positively, you will succeed. You look at it negatively, you won't succeed. That's simple. That's just how the law works. So there are many leaders in the world. I'd recommend you to go through their books. Theodore Roosevelt, he was an ardent reader. John Maxwell, Robin Sharma, Roderick Nabe. Great author. Mr. Eric Shigongo. These are Tanzanian authors, some of them. A book called Nahj al-Balagha. Go through it. The Peak of Eloquence. Read scriptures like the Bible, the Hindu scriptures. Go through them. Read motivational books. Read books on entrepreneurship. So that's 2. 3. This is my second last point. You want to succeed in public speaking, be enthusiastic about it. Be what? Enthusiastic. Today, many of the speeches that you remember, so give me a few examples of the speeches that you feel are the best speeches ever delivered. You've never heard a good speech? You have. Which is the best speech you've ever heard? MC. I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King. Anybody else? One more example? Anybody else? Jim Rohn's speech. Let me ask you, those speeches, were they given from the heart or not? From the heart. If you speak from the heart, people will remember you. So make sure you speak about something that you are thrilled on. Number 4, you want to attain mastery in public speaking, give back to the community and the country. This is a law for everything in life. You want to succeed in business, give back. You want to succeed in education, give back. In the Bible, and I end my talk with this, Gospel of Matthew chapter 10 verse 8, freely you have received, freely give. You must give in order to attain. Let me just check the time again. This is the first time I'm on time. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.